And the second topic today comes to us from Brenda Peace, who writes, "Hey John, everyone seems to be talking about Idris Elba as the new James Bond as if it's almost a certainty. I'm one of those people that love the idea of him as Bond. He carries himself with such class and distinction, and he's a badass all at the same time. Perfect for Bond. So, are we actually close to getting him as our new 007? All right, thanks a lot for the question, Brenda. And yes, there has been a lot of talk ever since 2014 about the possibility of this man here, Idris Elba, who's awesome, becoming a new James Bond. Now, these whispers and talks intensified recently when Antoine Fuqua, the director we were just talking about a little while ago, there was a report saying that Antoine Fuqua said that he was talking with the James Bond producers, and that the James Bond producers were saying they're totally open to having like an Idris Elba, and they're totally open to having a black James Bond. So that quote coming out got everybody furiously talking about the whole Idris Elba thing, and a lot of people thinking that actually it's not just possible, it sounds like it's a done deal. It sounds like Idris Elba is going to be our new James Bond. Well, back up. Because the reps for Antoine Fuqua now are saying that Antoine Fuqua never said that. That quote about him talking to the Bond producers, he said somebody made up. What the Antoine Fuqua's PR rep said was the following. He never had a conversation with Barbara. That's the main producer behind the James Bond franchise. He never had a conversation with Barbara about the franchise or about any casting. It's all made up stuff. Not sure how it got started. Now, seemingly to put a cherry on that whole thing, Idris Elba then got on social media and said, "My name's Elba, Idris Elba," and then immediately put out, "Don't believe the hype." So it's starting to look like, when you look at Antoine Fuqua's representative saying, look, that conversation that got everybody talking never happened. And now Idris Elba putting out like a little social media thing saying, "Don't believe the hype." It probably looks like this is not happening. It looks like there is not going to be an Idris Elba James Bond. Now, that's not to say we're still a long ways off. We still got another Daniel Craig James Bond movie coming. So we're a long ways off. So it could transpire, sure. But as of right now, no, Idris Elba is not our new James Bond. I'm sorry to disappoint you, Brenda. Now, from a personal point of view, I think Idris Elba would be a terrific James Bond. I really do. I think you're right. He carries himself with that class, with that dignity, but he's also a real badass at the same time. That was something that Daniel Craig has been able to do, and why Daniel Craig, quite frankly, is now my all-time favorite Bond, because Idris Elba carries the same quality that Idris Elba does, and that was that Idris Elba was the perfect blending of the two prototype Bonds, the suave Roger Moore Bond and the badass Sean Connery Bond. Daniel Craig was both of them. You know, subsequent Bonds were kind of either more like Moore or more like Sean Connery. Daniel Craig was both. And I think Idris Elba carries those same qualities. I also think Idris Elba could easily carry that suaveness of a Roger Moore and that badassness of a Sean Connery. I think he could do both. So I would love it if you were new James Bond. Now, there are other actors I would love as a new James Bond. Henry Cavill, Tom Hiddleston, Chiwetel Ejiofor, whatever. Many other actors I could see as James Bond. But were they to name Idris Elba as James Bond, I'd be totally up for it. Unfortunately, as of right now, that doesn't sound like it's what's happening. So let's keep our eyes on the situation. All right, let's move on now to topic number 3.